So not only have we been introduced to a new concept called social distancing, but it looks like as of today, the World Health Organization wants to rebrand that to make it a little bit more accurate according to what they think is good by calling it physical distancing, saying that people can't gather together physically, but they still can gather together socially. And so I figured I would put a little spin on that by introducing something different that you may not hear or someone who typically gives financial advice. But how about we as a people, now that we are physically distancing ourselves from each other, why not consider financially distancing yourself from the financial realm as this economy is crumbling? The last day of the month of March, and March has been what a hell of a month as far as us being introduced to all types of crazy things that we could have never imagined. We're not given any type of information on the financial realm, and so we see all the issues that are currently underway with this health situation. We have cities all across the country becoming hot spots. I have not yet heard any financial advisor on any of the mainstream channels tell us to also consider the fact that we're living in unprecedented monetary times. And so, as I've always mentioned, whenever monetary policy and fiscal policy collide, that's where we're going to see the popping or the increasing or the artificial nature of this bubble economy that we're in start to experience some trouble. And so we've witnessed this over the last month of March, and we're heading into April. And in my personal opinion, April will be a month like we've never imagined, not only on the health side, but more importantly on the financial side for those that are actually practicing distancing themselves socially or physically, as the World Health Organization would like us to now call it. But what about on the financial realm? And so one of the things I want to talk about is why I think we should really consider financially distancing ourselves from this crumbling monetary system that we're in. And then also I want to share with you some ways that I think we should actually do that in a practical sense. And a lot of it has to do with this basically educating yourself outside of the typical narrative that you might receive from the people that you've trusted up until this point when it comes to managing your funds. But sweet and simple, why should we begin financially distancing ourselves in this current environment? If we look at the current numbers of unemployment, like right now, our country, because of this distancing concept, people are either being forced to stay home or because the economy is crumbling, jobs are no longer available. And so, as I did a video yesterday with the estimates of approximately 40 million or so people in the next couple of weeks expected to be laid off or furloughed or whatever you call it, those are just statistics that are given to us by the Federal Reserve. And so if you take those on the worst case scenario, double those numbers. Right now, if everyone is encouraged to distance themselves, which means you're not supposed to gather in large crowds or whatnot, therefore, that means you really can't work either. So there's going to be more people that are distancing themselves by staying at home and not working. And then you factor in the response to that. The second part is the stimulus package. So right now, as a way of curbing some of the financial woes amongst the public, we're being told that this stimulus is going to benefit citizens as well. But we all know it's a cover-up to paper over the corporation issues from all the CEOs that have already gotten out and that have already quit, and all the executives and politicians that have already cashed out of the equities market. Those companies right now no longer have the funds or proceeds to actually stay in business. Nevertheless, you can't return a profit if you have no consumers. And so by people being stuck at home, they're not spending the way they used to. Therefore, corporations, all the businesses and all our way of life prior to this point, where we were already living in a time of just extreme privilege of being able to buy, shop, and spend on the dumbest of things. Right now, people are going to get back to their priorities of what's most important. And it's going to be food first and all the actual necessities for sustaining their lives second, and all the other stuff like iPhones and latest Samsungs. I don't think people will be needing those at this current moment. As a response to this, not only are people staying home, corporations are closing, but look at what the central banks around the world are doing. We have the Federal Reserve now. I'm reading it now. They're opening up a new lending window. They've allowed the banks to no longer be required to hold reserves for people's deposits. So the risk right now have exponentially increased, and it's going to come back to hurt those that are continuing to stay in this system, practicing sound advice based upon yesteryear's type of information, because we have already entered into a new monetary world order, and they're in the midst now rolling out what it will look like by this summer. And so I'm actually watching an article, and it talks about President Trump as of today tweeting something about phase 4. And so they already have something laid out for what's coming as far as this new next infrastructure spending. So not only are they stimulating corporations, giving the citizens some crumbs to get by for a day or two, but they're also working on that second bill, which will have some infrastructure spending in it. And so once again, if people are stuck in the house, corporations don't have employees because their doors are closed, how will there be any infrastructure spending? Who's going to actually be able to go out, invest their time and energy towards working on building up infrastructure? So once again, I question what that bill or that package will include. So amongst all those problems I just laid out there in a very brief form, now we have the concept of financially distancing ourselves. And so I think that this message, even though it's relatively early, people are going to start feeling the side effects in the month of April as to why they should have already been distancing themselves from this dying monetary system. And so one of the things that I want to encourage people to take time to educate themselves on is right now we are experiencing a national emergency. And that national emergency has already shifted the way we live our lives. But how have you shifted how you handle your personal financial matters right now? And so as of now, because of this most recent stimulus package, it looks like there's going to be an opportunity for people to investigate withdrawing their funds from all those retirement portfolios without there being penalties. And so as the information comes out, I'm definitely going to cover more of it. But I think, number one, that's the first thing everybody should be doing right now. If you haven't already, you should be willing to look and investigate on how you can remove all that supposedly future wealth that you have in the markets that's waiting on you when you get older or as when you get ready to retire. It's good to say, because of the first three things I laid out, those funds may not necessarily be available, especially if the stimulus packages continue to increase, the monetary base continues to expand, and our currency becomes even worth less than what it is now. Those funds in the future that's waiting on you will not be worth much in that time frame. So I would consider you, one, to think about withdrawing yourself from the financial matters by removing some of those funds or removing them all, or only keeping what you're willing to lose inside of those markets in a worst case scenario. And then second one is simple: get physical. Right now, there's still companies out there that may have a little bit of weight, some gold and silver or whatever else type of metals that you have interest in. But right now, taking those funds that you're able to withdraw or cash that you have on hand, getting something physical, because right now we know the price of metals is extremely undervalued in all forms and fashion. There's going to become a scarcity issue, which I believe will happen this month, as bullion dealers will realize that they may not be wanting to get rid of their metals at the price they are now, regardless of the premiums. And so even if you can find metal now with premiums a little bit on the high side, it's better to get physical than to not have the physical metals in your possession at the end of the day. So use that wealth that you withdraw to get some physical metals. And then the third thing, education. I think right now is the best time to be following as many people who offer an alternative approach towards how to extract and utilize some of your wealth now while you still can. And so there's all types of ways out there to put the currency to use, because pretty soon cash will be tainted as a enemy of the people, as it will be linked to contamination of this current health situation we're facing. And so having large amounts of cash might be somewhat of a detrimental financial move in the days ahead. Cash will be branded in a very negative way. So that's something you might want to consider as well. So educate yourself, find ways to be involved in projects, create opportunities for people that can create streams of income for you that you can then turn into weight or metal or what other alternatives you have in mind. So me personally, I've never been one to really preach the cryptocurrency sector, but I haven't investigated for quite some time now. There's certain projects that interest me to where I don't mind putting crumbs in it, because worst case scenario, it could go to zero, or it can have opportunity to absorb some of the liquidity that's about to be brought into existence from central banks and the governments going on this spending binge right now. So I just want to take a quick minute to share my thoughts as to why I believe this concept of financial distancing might be something you want to look into. And also, what are your thoughts on it? Have you already been practicing financial distancing? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section and let me know whatever I have missed, because once again, just trying to share some quick thoughts real quick based upon information in front of me now. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this matter. Share this video, let other people know what's going on, because right now people are continuing to be locked in their house, but they're not removing their cash out of the same system that's going to go belly up real soon. Look forward to reading your comments in the section below. Enjoy your day.